Tax season comes around every year, and for millions of Americans filing for the first time, it feels completely overwhelming. A form nobody explained in school, deadlines that sneak up on you, and the nagging fear that you are going to get something wrong. In this video, we're going to walk through exactly how filing your taxes works for the first time, what documents you need, what your options are for actually filing, and what happens after you submit. Everything here is purely educational. Nothing you may keenan pringerbein. Puan prandr shurin dan series, yo reinprains, oan damvabeinsters, Woodbrindio kan brandrio constitutes tax or financial advice. For your specific situation, always consult a licensed tax professional. Before we get into it, a quick but important note. Tax rules change every year and vary by individual circumstances. What we cover here is general educational information only. Your situation may be different. Always verify current rules with the IRS directly at irs.gov, or consult a licensed tax professional for your specific filing needs. The reason taxes feel so confusing for most first-time filers is that nobody teaches them. Personal finance is absent from most school curricula, and the U.S. tax system, while genuinely complex for some situations, is actually straightforward for the majority of first-time filers who have a single job, no investments, and no property. Most first-time filers qualify for free filing options, and the process takes less than an hour once you have your documents together. The fear is usually bigger than the task itself. Not everyone is required to file a federal tax return. Whether you need to file depends on your income, filing status, and age. For the 2026 tax year, the general threshold for a single filer under 65 is roughly $14,600 in gross income. If you earned less than this, you may not be required to file. However, there are important reasons to file, even if you are not required to. Most importantly, if your employer withheld taxes from your paycheck throughout the year, you may be entitled to a refund, and you will not receive that refund unless you file. Check the IRS website at irs.gov for current thresholds, as these change each tax year. Before you can file, you need to gather a few key documents. The most important is your W-2 form if you are an employee. Your employer is required to send this by the end of January, and it shows your total earnings and taxes withheld for the year. If you worked multiple jobs, you will have a W-2 from each employer. If you are a freelancer or self-employed, you will receive a 1099 form from any client who paid you $600 or more during the year. You will also need your social security number, your bank account details if you want your refund deposited directly, and any records of deductible expenses if you plan to itemize. Though for most first-time filers, the standard deduction is simpler and results in a lower tax bill anyway. There are three main ways to file your federal tax return, and each one suits a different situation. The first is IRS Free File. If your adjusted gross income is below $79,000, you qualify for the IRS Free File program, which allows you to use guided tax software at no cost through the official IRS website. This is widely discussed as the best starting point for straightforward first-time filers. The second option is commercial tax software. Products like TurboTax, H and R Block, and Free Tax USA offer guided step-by-step filing. Some have free tiers for simple returns, though the features included in each tier vary, so always check what is covered before you start. The third option is working with a tax professional or CPA. For more complex situations, freelance income, investments, rental properties, or major life changes, working with a licensed tax professional is widely recommended. The cost is typically between $100 and $300 for a basic return, and for many people the peace of mind and accuracy it provides is worth it. One of the most common questions for first-time filers is whether to take the standard deduction or itemize. The standard deduction is a flat amount that reduces your taxable income. For 2026, it is approximately $14,600 for a single filer. Itemizing means adding up all your qualifying deductions individually: mortgage interest, state and local taxes, charitable donations, and qualifying medical expenses above a certain threshold. For the vast majority of first-time filers, the standard deduction results in a lower tax bill and is significantly simpler. Itemizing is generally only worth it if your total qualifying deductions add up to more than the standard deduction amount. Most single first-time filers with no mortgage take the standard deduction without question. The federal tax filing deadline is typically April 15th each year. If you need more time, you can file for an automatic 6-month extension using IRS Form 4868, but this extends your time to file, not your time to pay. If you owe taxes, payment is still due by the original April 15th deadline, regardless of whether you filed an extension. After you file, the IRS will process your return. If you are due a refund and filed electronically with direct deposit selected, refunds typically arrive within 21 days. You can track the status of your refund using the IRS Where is My Refund tool at irs.gov. If you filed a paper return, processing takes longer, typically 6 to 8 weeks. One thing first-time filers are often not warned about is tax identity theft. This is when someone uses your social security number to file a fraudulent tax return and claim your refund before you do. It is more common than most people realize. If you try to file, and the IRS tells you a return has already been submitted with your social security number, that is a serious red flag. The IRS does have a process for resolving this, but it can take months. Monitoring your credit and personal information year-round is one of the widely discussed ways to catch signs of identity theft before it becomes a bigger problem. We have a full video on identity theft protection, link in the description below. Filing your taxes for the first time does not have to be overwhelming. Gather your documents, choose your filing method, and submit before April 15th. If your situation is straightforward, the IRS Free File program at irs.gov is the most commonly discussed starting point, and it costs you nothing. Links to helpful resources are in the description below. Subscribe to Yield Report Daily for new videos every week covering personal finance in plain English. No jargon, no financial advice, just clear education you can act on. See you in the next one.